Welcome to this tutorial on implementing Gamepad support in Java. If you've ever wondered how to seamlessly integrate Gamepad controls into your Java games, you're in the right place. Today, we will explore the Java Game Controller API, cover how to set it up, and walk through a sample project where we implement Gamepad functionality step by step. The first step is to ensure that you have the right libraries for handling game controllers in Java. One popular option is the JInput library, which allows easy access to Gamepad events and states. Let's import this library into our project. Next, let's create a basic setup for our Gamepad listener. We can create a Gamepad Manager class to handle our game controller inputs. We will start by initializing the controller and listening for its events. In the code above, we first import the necessary JInput classes. In our constructor, we call the initialize method that scans all available controllers and identifies the first gamepad detected. It will print the name of the gamepad to the console, which helps in confirming our setup is correct. Now, let's implement an update method in the Gamepad Manager class. This method will check the state of the gamepad and listen for events such as button presses or joystick movements. In this update method, we first ensure that the controller is not null. We then pull the controller for new input events and handle each event with a process event method, which we will implement next. This structure is essential as it allows us to react to user inputs in real time. Next, let's implement the process event method in our Gamepad Manager. This method will interpret the events retrieved from the controller, providing a response such as actions based on button presses. In the process event method, we check the type of event. If it's a button event, we log that the button was pressed. If it's an axis event, we log the axis name and its value. This gives us the foundation for responding to gamepad inputs effectively. It's time to test our implementation. Let's create a main method that instantiates our Gamepad Manager and repeatedly calls the update method to capture live input data. In the main method, we continuously call the update method of our Gamepad Manager. The sleep call mimics a frame refresh rate, providing a smoother experience. When you run this code, ensure your game controller is connected and check your console for input logs. You might encounter cases where multiple input devices are available. In such cases, you can enhance your Gamepad Manager to select a specific gamepad based on user input or through some configuration files. This select gamepad method allows you to choose which gamepad to use based on an index passed as a parameter. This flexibility can be useful for games supporting multiple devices, allowing for greater customization. Next, let's handle button mapping for more complex control schemes. We can create an enum for our actions and map buttons to these actions accordingly. In the example code above, we create an action enum that defines various actions our game may support. The button mapping hash map allows us to link gamepad button names with these actions for easier management. We'll need to update our process event method to process the action from the button mapping. With this updated process event method, we now check if the button pressed has a mapped action. If so, we print which action was triggered. This allows us to extend the gamepad functionality significantly. Finally, let's discuss how to integrate this gamepad support into a graphical context, such as a simple game loop. We can use Java Swing or JavaFX to create a UI for our game and update the visuals based on gamepad inputs. In this example, we create a simple JFrame with a JPanel where our game logic can run. The timer schedules regular updates to keep checking for gamepad inputs and drawing any necessary changes to the screen. This creates an interactive environment where your gamepad input directly influences gameplay. And there you have it. We have successfully implemented gamepad support in our Java application, leveraging JInput for input management. You can expand upon this foundation by developing complex control schemes or even adding support for other input devices. In summary, we covered importing the necessary libraries, initializing the gamepad, handling events, implementing action mapping, and finally integrating everything into a game loop with a graphical interface. I encourage you to experiment with this code and adapt it to fit your game's needs. If you found this tutorial helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more programming tutorials. Drop questions or suggestions in the comments below. Thanks for watching.